Coming up next on Not the 9 to 5 podcast.
And I was living off universal credit and the small amount of money in my bank account. I don't show my work, I just show myself, and then people want to talk to me, and that's it. You know, you can try and do as much prep as you want, but the point is you don't know what you're doing. Why would you not send that message? Bloody send the message. Like, don't not send the message. Never don't do the thing, do the thing. I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say it's more than 50% working on my business. No, the business is me. I choose the things that I do. It's okay to be yourself. It's the best thing you've got. Yeah. Trust me.
Welcome to Not the 9 to 5,
the podcast for freelancers
by freelancers.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out,
join us as we share insights, tips and stories
to help you thrive in the world of independent work.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Francesca.
We are two freelancers exploring the highs, lows
and everything in between. So grab your coffee, kick back
and let's dive into another episode of Not the 9 to 5.
Katheryn Siggers.
Francesca Marago.
We're back again.
We are back again for another episode. And who have we got today?
We've got Adam Faulkner here today.
And who is he? Tell us all.
Who is he? So he's from Being Freelance AF. So Adam is a proud freelance business owner and solopreneur.
Solopreneur,
and loves helping others grow their small businesses too. He founded his freelance video production business Creative AF at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020 and hasn't looked back since. His mission is making self-employment more accessible to all, from students right up to pensioners.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited.
We're excited to delve into that.
Adam, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Kat. Hello, Francesca. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's have a
chat.
That's it. You sound like you're exactly the kind of person our listeners really need to hear from. But tell us, how did you get into freelancing in the first place? Was it always on the cards? Did you have a 9 to 5? Like, tell us your journey a little bit.
I was born in 1986. No, I'm joking.
So how long have we got?
That is the truth. That is the truth. 1986. I always find it quite, strange when people haven't worked for someone or somewhere before they've worked for themselves. But they do exist, but I always find it odd. But I've worked in media, some form of media, for about 15 years. Used to be a journalist for newspapers, and then I was a TV producer. Then I kind of went traveling for a few years, and then I came back and I was like, I can't go back to, I can't go back to my old life. And then I was like, you know what, I need to work for myself. And then so I was really excited about that. And I was like, I'm going to have my own business. How exciting is that? And then I did that. I set it up, and then COVID happened literally immediately. So, which sounds like terrible. And it felt terrible at the time, but because I was just I had no money, and I was living off universal credit and the small amount of money in my bank account, trying to convince people like companies or clients to work with me when they all thought they were going to die. You know what I mean? It was that time when no one was at work. So it was just like, hello, you're probably worried about your existence, but I've started I've started a business. So that period was very weird because obviously I couldn't go anywhere, and I was trying to convince people to be like, let's do some work together. And they all obviously were worried about actually being alive, because it was that period, I don't know if you remember it, where it was like, okay, is this gonna wipe everyone out? So obviously sending lots of cold messages and emails was probably, but you know what, you have to do it. Fortunately, I was quite innovative with what I was doing. So I lived with a bartender who's one of my best friends, and he couldn't work either, unsurprisingly. So we just started making videos in the garden of him making drinks, and that actually led to us getting Sipsmith as a client straight away. And I was like, great, this is great. Okay, here we go. So that was a great little story from the very beginning. But that was like 4 years, more than 4 years ago now. And so it's kind of all gone from that.
Yeah.
That one moment has really shaped when you really realize, hold on, I can do this. This is great.
Did it feel?
So that's kind of my origin story there.
Did it feel when you were sending the cold emails out and kind of not really getting a response or whatever, like how did that feel? Like, was there moments where you felt like, oh, what am I doing?
Not really, because I thought about this a lot now, because right, fast forward 4 years and then I'll go back. I help a lot of people, you know, kind of set up and run their own businesses, which I really enjoy, because I think once you learn stuff, you should pass it on. But back then I didn't really care, because I used to be a journalist, so I was very used to people saying no to me, or worse, from literally knocking on their front doors. So to me, sending messages like that, why would I not send? I mean, it's nothing to me. It's just going, yeah, I'll just send it. Why would I not send that? But I get that, you know, for a lot of people that's quite hard, because they're like, oh, do I send that? But I just tell people, genuinely, no one really cares like about you, so you may as well just send it, because, you know, I would rather get one yes in a sea of no's, you know, than just all no. Basically, if you already got a no, why would you not try and get a yes? The point is, you know, you should just try. Obviously within that, there are better ways to send these messages, which I have learned. I'll be honest, I used to send very long, very cold messages, and I'd be like, not why wouldn't it get back to me? I just thought, you know what, I'll just try. Whereas now I'm like, I know how to get people to speak to me. You know, it's not, I find it really easy to do it now, but that's why I'm trying to teach other people how to do it, because sending out hundreds of messages without any, you know, real personality in them, it's not the best way to do it. Do you know what I mean? But when you're desperate at the beginning, which I was, and I didn't really understand, I was just like, yeah, just fire another 100 out there. Let's just do that. Yeah, that's pretty much how I used to do it. Whereas now I'm like, relationships are everything. So I need to get on side. We need to get on side. If you don't get on side, if you get on side with someone, show interest, just be a real person, you know, actually show interest in them. They will show interest in you. And so it's not about a hit rate, but that's how, that's how I get so many conversations with people now. Cause I'm like, I'm going to take the time to send something to someone that actually means something, rather than sending out hundreds of the same message, basically.
Yeah, really personalizing it to that particular person that you're sending it to, and getting to know them, as opposed to, please pay me for a service I want to give you. You know,
I think people want that quick fix, don't they? They just want things like done so quickly. They want like everything to come now, and everything. You know, that's just not life. And like freelance takes time to build yourself.
It's a slow burn.
Connect with people, and people are everything in the freelance world, because you are self-motivated, you create your own destiny, I suppose.
Definitely.
So you got to be on top with it.
I think there's a few things on that. One is freelancers are excellent at, I'll start with what they're good at. They're excellent at working in their business. If you give them work, they will do it to a high standard, but they are not very good at working on their business. And my data set is huge, so I've spoke to, I don't have an exact number, but you know, it must be thousands of freelancers over the years, and I know what they're good at, I know what they're bad at. But I actually think there's also, you know, I'm very direct and honest. I think there's a kind of a bit of a laziness with the working on the business, because they don't really enjoy that part. And I always say, like, look, you can't have one without the other. You know, if you want to just do work in a business, you know, in the business, you may as well go and work for someone else. Like, and there's no shame in that. But the problem is, people are, I want to work for myself. And I'm like, I know, but I probably spend, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say it's more than 50% working on my business. That's why I develop it every day, because I enjoy that part of it. But I think, you know, a lot of freelancers don't enjoy that. They just want to be like, hey, I want some work. And I'm like, doesn't everyone? You know, it's like the other things that you do will get you more work, but they kind of not really seeing it like that all the time. So I think that would, you know, I have a lot of advice for freelancers, but yeah, even if you don't enjoy it, you need to kind of find a way to enjoy it, as in working on the business, because if you don't, you're just going to be going, oh, do you know what? Instead of trying to build a relationship with that person, what I'm going to do is I've sent out 400 messages. I'm like, okay, have any of them replied to you? No. Okay, right. Is that a good use of your time? You know, because you then get labeled as a pitch slapper. You know, because I get hundreds of messages now, even more, from people doing the same thing that I used to do to me. And I said, someone just came in through at a certain time yesterday, and I just went, you do realize that I don't like this message because you copy and pasted it. And she said, well, I thought, you know, you haven't you put my name in, but I know you've sent this to lots of people. If you'd have tried to get me on side, I would have been a lot more amenable to speaking to you. So that's my tip for you today. And she went, thank you so much for that. And I was like, look, you think that by sending lots of information to people that they haven't asked for, that's the main thing. They haven't asked for it. By sending all this information, you're kind of, you know, it's all about me. Hello, my name is this. I do this. I want this. Buy this from me. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
No one's looking for.
When you say get people on side, just for our listeners, kind of what do you mean when you say that?
So I'll give you a good example. Okay, and this isn't even necessarily to get a client. So I do a lot of learning. I go into like this learning mode, right? So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of videos. I consume a lot of things because I'm very interested in having the best possible life and having the best possible business. So, for example, I was listening to a podcast. Someone was on it, and I messaged them and I said, "You were on this podcast. This point you made really resonated with me." Right? He messaged me back and went, "What's your address? I'll send you a book." I was like, "Okay, great." He signed the book, sent me the book. Then he started inviting me to events. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to share something that actually did mean something to me. It has to be important, you know, relevant. You can't just be like, "Hey, I like your hair." Like, it's, you know, obviously that's a bad example, but what I'm trying to say is you have to say something meaningful. And if you say something meaningful that's relevant to them, their ears open and they're like, "Okay, right, I'm listening."
Yeah,
it's a compliment. But it's not like a compliment about what they look like. It's oh yeah, you look great. It's not a compliment, really. It's like, you said this or you did this. That's my advice to anyone. Do not send a message that says, you know, it's a compliment really, but it's a compliment about something that they've done or something that's happened. But you have to mean it. If you mean it, they will message you back. I promise you that. Like, the success rate of that is unbelievably high. Whereas if you go in going, "Hi, my name is this. I do this. Do you want to buy this?" They won't buy it off you. However, you know, it's not a tactic. It's just like real life. I'm just being a real person, you know. But trust me, it does work. Like, if you, and anyone who's listening, you know, if you want to speak to me, I won't reply. I won't reply to you if you just copy and paste the message. If you say something to me that you mean, or is, you know, has a little bit of, you know, a meaningful element to it, I will reply to everyone. That's how I do it. So that's what I put out, and that's what I want to receive. And that just makes better.
Is that why you replied to us when we reached out to you?
I want to connect.
Yeah.
You know, I want to connect with people. I'm going to say connect. I don't mean literally on, like, I don't know, on LinkedIn or social media. I mean literally, I want to connect as a human, because that's where the bedrock of, you know, relationship. That's how they start, and you don't know where they're going to go. Like, that's the point. Like, you know, I don't. For example, on LinkedIn, I don't even think of it as I don't think about leads. I think about opportunities. That's what I don't call them leads. I call them opportunities. I actually call LinkedIn an opportunity generator, because I basically just show up, I be myself, and then people go, "Oh, do you want to do this, or do you want to go?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, great, let's do that." Sometimes it's work related, as in, "Do you want to do this project, or do you want to work together on this?" But you know, I've been asked to do amazing things. Like, I'm kind of like a mentor for the Prince's Trust, which is obviously voluntary. But the point is, like, that's changed my life, because I basically help young people all the time. And I'm like, that's because of LinkedIn, but it's because I dare to put myself out there, you know? And I think that there's so many more elements that freelancers need to think about, other than, you know, I always say, like, stop calling yourself a job title, because there's thousands of them, right? So if you go into Google or whatever search function, LinkedIn, whatever, and type in freelance and then insert the job title, you're not going to stand out. There's thousands of them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and actually most of them might be even better than you at that thing. The point is that I sell myself first and my services second. People don't even know what I do anymore because I do so many different things.
Well, yeah.
But I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy variety. I'm not saying everyone has to be like me and do what I do.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you will have a much more fulfilled life if you put yourself first.
Yeah.
You know, put yourself forward, not this skill set or service that you have. Because you'll be confined by that service forever because that's all you can do. You just go, well, I'm in it.
Or you are.
So when people say
you
to
are
me,
your vessel, aren't you? You are your.
Exactly.
So if you just showcase who you are and show up, people will just like you for you.
Yeah.
And then the work or your skills come secondary to that. You know, but at the end of the day, if you can connect with people, that's the most important thing.
Well, who would you rather work with?
Yeah.
Someone you like or get on with, or like, I mean, if there's 10 people, they're all equally as good. I'm going to go with the one that I've argued. That's it. That's all that, you know. And actually, even if they're slightly technically worse than the other 9, I'd still go with them because that's what life's about. It's not about like who can do the job. It's like who makes you feel. Who do you trust? Who do you connect with? Who makes you feel good? You know, because that's what life's all about.
Exactly.
Definitely. I totally agree with that. I feel like I suppose like some freelancers might feel like that's quite vulnerable to put themselves first and be like, hey, this is me and genuinely who I am. But I think that's such a great piece of advice you've given our listeners in terms of like, well, it's all about connection. It's not necessarily.
But also there's like a borderline there, like especially in our careers, to not sound arrogant or like, you know, like up yourself when you are emailing people, because we have to always sell ourselves as actors, voice artists, because what we have is our look and our show reel and what we've done and how we sound, and that's it. So it's like, how do we say, oh, hey, like, we're Kat and Francesca, like we interview all these really cool people, but we've been on this show and that show, without being like sounding cocky or you know, I find that really difficult, because you don't want to sound big-headed.
I know what you mean, but I feel like it's just like you got to be genuine.
Yeah, but sometimes you are, but it just comes across like
I don't
you're
think
a
it does.
Do you reckon?
I think you're overthinking it.
Maybe
Francesca.
I just overthink.
I think you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Make it. Well, my retort to that is, I do get it, but I would say make it about the other person.
Yeah,
and be a good listener. You know, be more of a listener.
Yeah.
Rather than coming to the party or bringing to the table straight away saying, I've done all these amazing things. I'm not saying you say that, but you know, you clearly, you obviously have. Like, that's great. But the point is, that's why I go in the other way and go, hey, you've done this. It's really resonated with me. I thought it was fantastic. And they will go, wow, that's lovely. I love that. Yeah, great. I really want to speak to that person. Then you get into a conversation where they're listening and you're listening, and you can kind of share these, like, you know, that often, you know, the common response to this, and this isn't just why I do it, I actually just love sending messages or connecting with people, is they'll go, oh, I see you do this, or your time is impeccable, we're looking for someone who's, and then you don't even need to worry about what you're selling, because they're already listening to you. You know, that's the point. So I would say my advice to both of you, as well as everyone who's listening, is instead of trying to sell what you have, just try and talk to the people on a level and just be interested in them. And I promise you, they'll be interested in what they'll just go, okay, Kat, Francesca, oh wow, look at all that, that's great. Okay, your timing is impeccable, I'm interested in this. Like, it's just, oh, it's so easy. And it doesn't even have to just be online, you can do that in real life. It's great. Just, you know, like, it's just about being remembered for being a good person. Because that's what, and that is a longer term strategy, because it doesn't always come to, you know, it doesn't always happen immediately, but sometimes it does. And, you know, over the years, like, people have got back in touch with me and they'll go, do you know what, I've been following your LinkedIn content for 2 years and I really, it really lifts me up, or something like that. And I'm like, great, oh, so kind. And they're like, oh, you know, I get so many messages now from people who I don't even know, you know, and they're like, oh, okay, right, you know, this post really helped me and this resonated with me and someone's recommended that I follow you. And I'm just like, I'm just being myself.
Yeah.
I barely even talk about what I do. I used to, I still have a video production business. I haven't posted a video for about 4 months. I don't show my work. I just show myself, and then people want to talk to me, and that's it, But I also am interested in other people. I really am, because I want to help. I want people to do well. I want them to have the best possible life, and I kind of want to make working for yourself more accessible to everyone. Because when I was at school, and I'm maybe a bit older than you guys, people didn't talk about that. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't an option. It was like, do your GCSEs, do your A levels, go to uni if you want, obviously. But there was never like, oh, okay, you want to do your own business? It wasn't an option. So no one talked about it. So now that's kind of what I'm hell bent on doing, as well as helping people to just give them permission to be themselves. Like, honestly, like, I do a lot of public speaking now, and I did a talk the other week for the BBC, and I talked about my nan a lot, and everyone was looking at me going, what are you doing about your nan? And I was like, my nan is my hero. She's passed away, but the reason she's my hero, for many reasons, but one of them, the main reason, is I've never met anyone who's more unmistakably, unashamedly themselves than my nan. She was literally like, you knew who she was. She just put herself out there all the time. She never thought that anything was, too good or above her. And that's my role model, who I've grown up with. Someone who just goes, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be myself. And she always used to say, basically, don't take your best asset for granted, which is yourself. So it's like almost me continuing her great work, even though that wasn't her job. It was just her being herself. So that's kind of what I'm trying to help people do, is like, it's okay to be yourself. It's the best thing you've got. Trust me. Plus, making it like, but then obviously the kind of tools and tips, strategies, frameworks to actually being your own boss, because I'm so passionate about it, that I want other people to just have a great life as much as I do. So that's kind of my motivations behind it. And I hope you can see that I'm very passionate about it. It's very, because people say to me, what do you do? And I just say I work for myself, and they laugh, and I go, why are you laughing? And they're like, yeah, but what do you do? And I'm like, I work for myself. Because that's what it is. It's not one thing, but other people can just have the one thing if they want. But for me, it's like this, the ability to pivot, and just go, I'm going to go over there and do that. Like, why do we have to be confined to one little thing? Do you see what I mean? Because, but I also do think the more you learn, the more you should pass it on. So anyone who's listening, the other thing that you can, I've got very good at diversifying my business. I understand how to do many different things now, and I don't mean I'm a video. I do a lot of video stuff. I like doing that, but I'm not saying that I'm also everything else under the sun. But what I'm saying is, we live in this time where you can educate people from anywhere in the world, right? So everything that's in between your eyes, everything's in your head, you can share with people. And it's not just about monetizing it. You can monetize it, but it is also worth a lot, right? So you could, for example, you guys, your voice, right? Voice actors.
Voice actors, yeah.
That was it. So you guys, there's so much you could do with that helps people who want to do that, or shares, what I'm trying to say is, when you see it as like all these different kind of categories of what you could do, the kind of possibilities are endless. Rather than just voice acting, which I appreciate you love, which is great. But I'm also saying that, like, there are so many different things you can do with that. And obviously within that category, there's all the freelance stuff. We're talking about freelancing. So obviously you have your podcast, but there's also just all these other things that you can kind of get into if you want to, of course. And because what you need to do, well, not, what people aren't doing is, freelancers say to me, it's hard at the moment. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm saying, what else are you doing? And they go, oh, it's just the way it is. It's feast and famine, boom and bust. And I was like, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't. People feel very bound by this seasons, let's say, of difficulty, and kind of then, release. So to me, it's like, I don't think it's like that. I have felt it, because I used to think it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I just kept saying it, it was like, okay, well, that's how it is. But really, you get creative about finding other ways to do things, and then you will never be bound by feast and famine, boom and bust.
Yeah.
Good.
So just going back to your childhood now, did you ever think you would go into being a freelancer? I mean, I know you mentioned that at school that was never really an option that was mentioned. What did you think you were going to do when you grew up?
When I was a kid, I loved writing. So actually, I did become a journalist. So it's not really that, I did stick to it. But I always reading and writing. I used to love all that. So newspapers is actually quite relevant. But my mum and dad had their own business. So they were entrepreneurs. But obviously, when you're a kid, that doesn't make any sense to you. You just think, oh, mum and dad have gone to work. You don't think, oh, they've created that work. But I think that that's really got, I've seen the life that we lived as a family. I saw how hard they worked, but also like how proud they were of what they had. So I guess that's kind of rubbed off on me. So I guess, it really shows you how much your childhood shapes, well, your life. That's not a surprise to you or to me or to anyone to hear that. But my point is, having a mum and dad who, had their own business, that's clearly had an effect. Then obviously just being passionate about storytelling, I guess. Like I really, really enjoy people more than I enjoy, I don't know, just I've realized that I enjoy working with people more than I enjoy working with businesses, which I like telling stories. So to me, I was like that as a kid, and I kind of just like that now. I don't think you change that much. I think you just learn more about the world. Yeah, if that makes sense.
And sort of like in doing what you're doing now, did you kind of encounter any struggles with that? Like, did you ever have any seeds of doubt when you ventured into all of these pathways? Did you struggle at all?
I think there's always I think if you did, I'd be lying if I said I didn't struggle with something. There's always, you're never far from a struggle, but I kind of embraced them. And I think that, I was thinking about this a lot the other day about failure. And I think that you grow up being, well, I was speaking for myself, you kind of get taught not to make mistakes or or kind of fail, because if you do, it's bad. Whereas now I'm like, okay, if I make a mistake, it's on my terms, or if I fail, it's on my terms, and I will own up to it, and I will accept responsibility, and I will learn from it, and I will grow as a person. So I actually think I grow more as a person now because I'm doing my own thing and everything's on me. I accept responsibility. It's actually very refreshing when you make a mistake and you just go, I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Whereas before, at work, I even did a post about it the other day. I was thinking, when I used to work places, you're terrified of making mistakes. You might get fired.
That's it. But when you work for yourself, it's like,
it's just you to blame.
Okay,
yeah,
I've got to learn from that. I've got to learn from it and move on. But
absolutely. But I do. The point is, it's working for yourself is incompletable. So you're always going to struggle somewhere, because if you want to advance, you have to go to like another level or a different level and work something out that maybe you don't understand. And that's why it's exciting to me, and that's why, like, as I said before about working on the business, that's the bit I enjoy the most, because I'm like, I don't know what this is. This is quite scary, but I'm like, great, let's do it. Whereas to me, just doing the same thing over and over again, it doesn't fill me with much excitement. I mean, maybe I love variety. Maybe I love new things. It's not like I get bored with things. I'm always like, what's over there?
Yeah.
What's that going on? And there's so many struggles. Really, like when I think about it, it's like, how long have you got? The point is, like, you don't know how to do this stuff, right? Work for yourself. You don't get taught it at school, at uni. You have to learn on the job. Let's be honest. You can try and do as much prep as you want, but the point is, you don't know what you're doing. Like, and that's what I would say to anyone. Like, anyone would probably say that to you who's been doing it a while. It's like, at first you're just going, right, what is this?
That's it.
What is this? What is this beast? And little things like you don't know how to construct certain things. You don't know how to price yourself. I mean, I would dare say people still don't know how to price themselves. The point, you may as well just learning it now. I'm just like, you may as well just go shoot for the moon and just
see, yeah,
just literally just go, right, it costs this.
Yeah.
And that people, and if it's valuable enough to people, they will buy it from you. That's what I think now.
So
Whereas,
true.
I think with money, it's like, it's always going to be a constant struggle. Like, you have to earn your money. I think every pound you earn it means more to you when you do it yourself, because you're literally like, great, okay, someone's just paid that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Like, and I've never earned the same amount. I think I've done my own thing for, I don't know, 50, 60 months, maybe more, and I've never earned the same.
As in,
each month.
Each month is different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't. Like, it's always been different.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like,
all the time.
So you're literally looking at it going, great. Like, is that good? And then the other months you're like, bloody hell, that's not great.
Like,
and so that keeps you on your toes. But I think that is a struggle for people not seeing. I think the struggle from employed to self-employed is a lot bigger than people think, and it's a lot bigger than people give it credit for, because you have to learn a lot of new stuff that you never did when you were employed. You turn up, you do your job to a high standard, you leave, you don't think about it. They sort out your money, they sort out all the HR things, they sort out all the tech things. You don't have to pay for things because they pay for them. So you're basically like, great, okay, we don't have to think about that. Then suddenly you're like, okay, why do I do all these things? And I think you need to really want it. Really enjoy it. Like, I think that's the thing for
because
me.
It's a constant as well, isn't it? It's 24/7. It never stops, and so you have to love it.
Well, the thing is, you do have to love it, and I think that you have to be quite brave and courageous with your decision making, and that can go from what we talked about before, sending that message. Why would you not send that message? Bloody send the message. Like, don't not send the message. Never don't do the thing. Do the thing. So there's that. But then there's also, like, I've spent 4.5 years with a video production business, and I've started to I realized in about last year or so, it's not serving me as much as I'd like. So I've made changes. I've invested time, energy, and sacrificed money to build other things. And I'm not afraid to do that, because I'm like, okay, ultimately it's about living the best possible life. So I start with, what lifestyle do I want to lead, and then work backwards now, rather than being like, okay, what business do I want? It's like, no, what lifestyle do I want? Because the best way to describe it is, like, imagine, but that only comes from a person or people who are willing to kind of really ask themselves the hard questions. And I felt not very in control of my own life, even though I had my own business. So I'm admitting that to you, which was, if someone says to me, do you want to do this shoot? And then what ends up happening is they just move it. And I'm like, you don't understand, like, that's really annoying. And they're like, I know, I'm sorry. And I'm like, look, I'm not in control of this. So I've changed it, because I need to be in control of it. And so that's been a big struggle for me in the past year. It's very specific to me, but, like, I didn't like the fact that I couldn't say you guys said, can you do this in 6 months? I couldn't say yes to that in the old way, because I wasn't sure what work was going to be there, inconsistencies. The woodwork would be there, but it would change. And I was just like, I don't want this. Like, my girlfriend actually went to New Zealand last year, and she was like, please come. And I was like, I don't know if I can come for 5 weeks. I also don't know if I can come at that time. Whereas now, because of what I've done, that was the catalyst for me changing things. So now I would just go, because now I can work from anywhere. But that's the journey you're on as your own business. It's not just about, for me anyway, going, well, I have this business and it has to be a business for 50 years. It's like, no, the business is me. I choose the things that I do. Yeah. So for that, being able to pivot and change and not completely throw away what you're doing. I'm just saying that's the journey for me. It's like, and that is a struggle, because you have to invest a lot of time, energy, and sacrifice things to kind of get to where you want to get to. And actually, sometimes you don't even know where you want to get to. You just kind of like, okay, I'm making it up as I go along.
Oh my
That's
God,
absolutely fine too.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm always making it up as I go along.
You've just got to adapt, isn't it? Things
Yeah.
change all the time. The world changes. Everything
it
changes.
evolves, doesn't it?
It's like you are evolving
Yeah.
with it. So if you get stuck in a way of how you do things from the past and the world's not, and the world's moved on from that, how do you expect to grow if you're not evolving with that change? And yeah, it can be really hard for people, you know. But
I also think on that, you know, I say this to a lot of people. You know, for a lot of people want to work with very cool, I don't know, companies or brands or industries, and I'm always like, okay, are you getting the work? And they're like, no. And I'm like, why don't you just go and work with people or businesses or industries where they're underserved? You know, and you will get the money, and then you can live. You might not get the kudos that you want from working with Apple, but you actually will definitely get money, and it'll be consistent.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that better? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, why don't you just go and speak to them?
Yeah.
You know, rather than like, because what I'm trying to say, guys, is like a lot of people go, I want to work with startups. I want to work with, you know, I want to work with founders. And I'm like, it sounds good, but why? What is it about that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can't be passionate about it. It's just like startups don't have any money. Small businesses don't really spend much money. So what is it about small businesses that you want to, it's like, okay, well, I just like small business. Okay. If they don't give you any money, is your passion for working with small businesses going to wane? Because I think it will. And then suddenly you're like a bit confused and you're like, oh, I don't know. So why don't you, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just think about it. Like, it doesn't have to be like this perfect, you know, sentence where you're like, I work with purpose. A lot of people purpose led. Okay, right. Purpose is like, there's a purpose to everything. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are like purpose led. It's like suddenly everyone's saying purpose led.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, have you just read that somewhere? You know, and you're just like, okay, just purpose led. And so,
do you know what that actually means? Like,
yeah, do you know what that means? So, but you know, and I'm sorry to knock on, I don't know, an industry, a non-sexy industry like insurance, but like,
love that.
Why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, just go and speak to them, because no one wants to work with them. And then you could probably just be like, do you know what? I'm earning more money now than I did before. It's a bit boring, but the point is you get to live out your dream, you know, and work for yourself. But I think people kind of have this, like, they're not flexible. A lot of people aren't flexible. Freelancers aren't flexible enough to just go, right, do you know what? I'm going to think a little bit differently, because, you know, they're kind of, if a lot of them are going, a lot of people say there's no work. I'm sure you probably hear that. Like, there's no work at the moment. And I'm like, okay, so where are you trying to get to? Where are you trying to get the work? Where are you trying to get the work? And they'll be like, well, I go on these kind of websites. And I'm like, right, okay. What, you just keep going there? I think Albert Einstein, I think it was Einstein, said that insanity is basically just doing the same thing over and over again. That's not working.
That's it.
And that to me is that is insanity. Just being like, I'll go to the well. There's no water in the well. Okay, I'll come back tomorrow. Okay, why do you keep going back to that well? There's no water in that well. Like, and that's not really, in my opinion, doing enough. Just go, right, okay, stop doing that. I'm going to try something else. You know, and I think that's where I would really want people who are listening, because I say this to people anyway, just think a little bit outside the box. It's not, in my opinion, it's not that hard. It is not to think, but then you have to, it feeds back into putting yourself out there, which is difficult. You know, going to job boards or, you know, those kind of gig economy type websites, to me is crazy. Do you know what I mean? So I actually have a new community which I've helped build, like a kind of marketplace for freelancers, and I do believe in it. And there's already work coming through. I'm just bringing people, like companies, to it, because I'm like, look, there you go. And they're like, they can't, but people are like, wow, there's already work there. And I'm like, yeah, because they believe me.
Yeah, because you've
if I say come here,
connection,
because I've cultivated it, the connection. And if people, because the reason I'm part of it is because I helped build it, is because the amount of people who come to me and go, and this is relevant, by the way, it's not just me going, come to my community. It's the amount of people who message me going, hey, do you know someone who can do X? if I say they can do it, they trust me because I'm, that it's all about the people, the personal relationship. So like, I enjoy that. But this is great. So now I have a talent pool. So I go, yeah, okay, right. Speak to Sean, speak to Sarah, and they go, thanks for that. You just saved me about 4 hours there, 5, maybe even more, because I've just gone, yeah, trusted. Speak to them. So really, the kind of currency, the best currency you can have is people.
Yeah,
skills.
yeah.
It's basically like, so people trust you. So people trust what I think. If I say that Steve's the best person for the job, if Rachel's the best person for the job, they will hire Rachel.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people just go, here's my portfolio. It's like, I haven't got time for this. I don't have time.
Yeah.
It's recommendation, isn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely.
I'm just saying I just want to reiterate how powerful relationships are.
Yeah.
Like, which is not always what people think about as freelancers. They just think work.
Yeah.
Where's the work?
That's
Where can I get work? And I want them to get work, but I want them to see that they will get more work if they use the power of their people skills.
Yeah.
More. And then people go, oh, I'm not very sociable, and it's like, you're gonna have to get more sociable.
Yeah,
I'm afraid
definitely.
it's not it's just then it's not going to come to you. No one's going to come and knock on your door because no one's looking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to go around shouting. But like, just anyway, I could talk about this for like 6 hours. So.
No, that's
very
true.
valuable for our listeners.
Yeah, I think people really hate like the idea of networking events, all of that kind of stuff. There's like a daunting thing over it. I went to one recently, and everyone there, you could tell, was looking for a job. Like everyone was there with the intention to find a job rather than with the intention of just getting to know people in the space. And then there's this pressure, and it's like, ugh, it's just horrible. I just hate it. Obviously we should love this because we're actors, but
I think
is that there is a horrible pressure about it, and it's like, how do you get rid of that? How can you just speak to someone and authentically speak to them without them thinking that you just want something from them?
I think, but that it goes back. Would you guys say that I get anxious? I'm not about things, I'm not like, it's not like I don't have any anxiety, but I know that if I go and talk to someone through whatever medium, I will feel much better once I've done it. Like I just do.
Yeah.
But I really do believe in selling without selling. That's just my way. I can't. If someone tries to give me a business card, I'm just like, I'll just say I haven't asked for that.
Yeah.
I just haven't. I haven't asked for it, so I'm not going to take it off you. Whereas if someone's like, I feel a bit. Do you feel a bit nervous? I feel a bit nervous. Feel a bit anxious. But I'm. It's quite a big thing for me to do this. And suddenly someone will go, "Me too." Do you know what? I'm really glad you said that. Like, and then you start having this conversation about just feeling a bit like vulnerable, and there is such power in that. And then suddenly you're like, do you know what? We're friends. Okay, that's nice. Rather than it being so what do you do? What do you do? It's just like, just talk about anything else other than what you do. That's what I would say. And then you will get onto it. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like, there's so much more to you than what you actually do. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, where have you come from today? Or just, it's just, it's, I don't know. But it is nerve-wracking when you meet people you don't know. But I think that, like, every single conversation you have is a networking opportunity. And I don't really like the term networking, but it kind of almost describes these weird meetups where people go for breakfast and hand out business cards. Whereas actually any conversation you have, whether it's offline or online, is a networking opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that is I think freelancers would be stunned at how much better their life would be if they put, set aside more time to do things like that.
It's true.
Offline or online, just because that's how I've built things that I've built.
Yes.
Because I didn't even ask for them. I just go, right, okay, let's be friends. Sometimes it's nice to you could just say, do you want to be friends? Like, let's be friends. Just make a joke of it. I don't know.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
No, so great piece of advice.
Definitely.
I think before we finish, we normally do a would you rather guess game with our guests.
Okay, would you rather live on a peaceful tropical island or a big bustling city?
Bustling city, because I mean, unsurprisingly, I like meeting people, so I think I'd go absolutely mental on an island on my own. I mean, you've seen Castaway, so look what happened there.
Would you rather have to start a new job every year until you retire, or have only one job for your entire career?
Well, I'm going to say because I guess as we're talking about, my job is doing my own thing, so I'm going to say have that for the rest of my life.
Okay,
cool. Would you rather spend your money traveling the world but have few personal possessions, or have a really amazing house but never leave your hometown?
Traveling the world with a few possessions. I'm a minimalist and I love exploring, so definitely that.
Nice. Would you rather have to wear all black every day for the rest of your life, or have to mix every colour of the rainbow into your outfit every day?
I'm not really into. I try and reduce the amount of decisions I have to make in life. So my girlfriend actually has accused me of being like Steve Jobs before. So I'm going to say with the all black thing, because so I don't have to think about it.
Another point for you then.
That's it. Would you rather be able to talk with animals or speak every language?
Speak every language, because I think it would be the best superpower.
Yeah. Omnilingual. Would you rather always be 1 hour late or 1 hour early to everything?
1 hour early, because I'm a real stickler for time. And my girlfriend is actually the opposite, so she's always late and I'm always early. So I can't say late, because I don't like it when people are late.
Would you rather be covered head to toe in tattoos or have one big tattoo on your face?
Head to toe in tattoos. I do have some tattoos, but I wouldn't get one on my face.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the first one.
Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life, or have to speak in riddles for the rest of your life?
I think I'd rather speak in riddles.
Riddles?
Because, yeah, I think the rhyme would get really annoying.
The riddles,
whereas I think the riddles...
No one would know what you were saying.
No, I know, but I quite like the mysterious, cryptic nature of that. I think people would be like, "Ooh, that's something." You know, I'm just imagining going around speaking in riddles like this. Whereas rhymes, you'd be like, "Have you met that guy? He won't stop rhyming." It's like rhymes.
Would you rather have more time or more money?
More time, because you can earn more money, but you can't earn more time.
Hey, I love that phrase.
Would you rather be a freelancer or PAYE?
Freelancer, 100%. Cool. I've tried PAYE and I didn't enjoy it. So
nah, we're the same. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today, Adam. Before you go, can you let our audience know where they can find you on social media?
Absolutely. The best place to find me is on LinkedIn, really. So the name's Adam Faulkner, and say hello. But don't just send me a long message that doesn't have any personalization. If you want to reply. But yeah.
Cool. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for listening to
Not the 9 to 5 podcast.
If you liked this episode, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, where we release weekly podcasts every Monday.
Comment below to let us know who you'd like to see next on our podcast.
Give this video a thumbs up and maybe share it with a freelance friend or two.
Until next week, everyone,
keep freelancing.